Have you heard the commercials? Will settle your tax debt for pennies on the dollar. Let us represent you before the IRS. While that sounds fine and dandy, settling an IRS debt for less than you actually owe, what in fact is tax representation? I'm going to answer that question for you today in this video. But before I do, let me introduce myself. My name is Timlin Bowens, and I am America's favorite EA. As an enrolled agent, I'm licensed through the Internal Revenue Service to settle taxpayers' IRS issues. I'm also the owner of Bowens Tax and Bookkeeping Solutions, a virtual firm based here in Louisville, Kentucky. So let's talk about tax representation, because I must admit, sometimes I'm also guilty of just throwing that word out and not realizing that my audience doesn't actually know what that means. So, tax representation is when a person steps in your shoes before the IRS. What this allows us to do is to speak on your behalf in order to negotiate better terms for you when you owe the IRS. Now, it doesn't exactly work the way that it's presented, though. There's no magic switch or wave that you can a wand that you can wave, excuse me. There is a process to this. So how does one become able to represent you before the IRS? Well, first of all, unless a family member, only 3 credentialed tax professionals can represent you before the IRS. They are enrolled agents, such as myself, CPAs who are licensed through their state, or tax attorneys. Now, you can't just call and say, yes, this person represents me, and that's it. When on a phone call, you can call to authorize somebody to discuss your tax situation, but for them to be able to take care of everything pertaining to a specific tax matter for tax years, you have to sign something that's called a 2848. This 2848 is a tax power of attorney. So, for example, when I, as an enrolled agent, retain a client, one of the first things we do is complete a 2848 for me to fax over to the IRS. What this does, it lets the IRS know that my client has authorized me to speak on their behalf. Remember, that's to negotiate, to advocate on their behalf for a specific tax years and for a designated tax matter. So in one of the cases I just finalized, what my client was facing was a tax lien, and we needed to be able to remove this tax lien in order for her to be able to continue on with her life and just get that behind her. So one of the first things we did, we signed this 2848, the power of attorney, and I faxed that in. So now that I am able to be in her shoes and advocate for her, this is the part that everybody loves about tax representation. She no longer had to speak with the IRS at all. Everything now was on me. So remember, tax representation, that person stepping in your shoes, you never have to speak to the IRS again about that tax matter unless you just want to, and which in most cases I don't recommend. Because think about it, if you have a tax professional representing you, the whole reason you hire that person is because they can get it done quickly and more efficiently than you can, and you're trusting them to know the tax law. When you face the IRS alone, you may not know all of the tax law needed to be known in order to settle your tax debt for the best amount that's going to work for both you and the IRS. So let's go back to the example I was giving about the tax lien. So what we did after that 2848 was signed, she no longer spoke with the IRS, which I advised her not to. I was able to call the priority line for practitioners and figure out how much exactly they were saying she owed. Because when she initially came to me, it was one amount. But by me speaking with the IRS, I knew that the amount of time that they had to collect on parts of that debt, it was up. So after us talking and going back and forth, when I got done, the amount owed was actually about half of what she initially came to me with. The next part, we need to remove the lien. So, me practicing on her behalf, remember tax representation, I've already represented her and gotten this debt to about half. The next part of that, because she signed this 2848 and provided me all of the documentation that I needed when I asked for it in a timely manner, I was able to go in and see what she qualified for to get this tax lien removed. So that's the other part of it. Not only negotiating certain debts down, if anything else has been applied, such as a tax lien or a tax levy, tax representation allows that tax professional to also advocate that those things be removed. So we figured out a way that she would be able to get rid of the rest of her tax debt. And after that, get the tax lien removed. So here's the power of tax representation. Because I knew the tax law and what things to apply to her situation, we were able to speak with somebody from the lien office, and they were going to send a certificate of lien release as soon as we were able to guarantee that payment would be on the way. And guess what? Within 2 short weeks, my client is not only going to have that debt completely taken care of, but also going to be free from a tax lien. So I wanted to give you a better understanding of what tax representation is, what it does for a taxpayer, but I also want to invite you, if you're facing back taxes that you can't pay in full and you're in need of tax representation, I'd love to set up a call with you. My team and I will take you through a very detailed consultation to see if we're even a good fit to work with each other. And if we are, we'll be able to give you an analysis to see what we could potentially do to help your tax situation. But here's the thing, you have to take the first step and book the call with us. So you need to go to www.bowens, BOWENS, taxsolutions.com. And once you get there, there's going to be a button that says book now. You're going to want to book a tax relief consultation. And I'll let you in on another secret as well. Right now, we're in June of 2021. For the remainder of this year, because I'm working on some other projects as well, we are only going to be taking on 6 new tax relief clients each month. This isn't the same as taxes. This had a complete break right there, excuse me. This requires more hands-on and the team actually speaking with the IRS more often than tax preparation does. And for that reason, and we want to give everybody's case the attention that it needs so it can be settled efficiently, only 6 new cases each month. So if you're in need of relief, immediate relief right now, go ahead, go to the website and book that call.